the big four of triggers that come up quite often for people is being tired. And so hungry, angry, lonely, tired, feeling tired, fatigued, exhausted can be this really big difficult place, because I mean, when we're tired and we're not getting enough good sleep or getting sleep at all, or yeah, then we are just naturally going to be making poor decisions because our brain is not all there. Our conscientious, value driven, higher critical thinking part of our brain isn't going to be kind of firing on all cylinders the whole time because it just needs the sleep. And it's crazy what can happen when someone doesn't get enough good sleep. I worked at a hospital in the emergency room, kind of evaluating patients who'd come in with psychosis. So delusions, seeing things, hearing things, or if they're suicidal, whatever it is, we'd go in and evaluate and just kind of see what level of care do they need. Um, and it was interesting that sometimes people would come in and they would be hallucinating, seeing things, talking to things that aren't there, and we're in the process of trying to get them a referral to psychiatric care. And the doctors in the ER would give them something to make them sleep, just to put them out, knock them out. And then sometimes, with the lack of beds at psychiatric facilities, we couldn't get a place, and they'd be there for a full day or longer, 24 hours. And so I'd go to work, see them there, come back the next day, they're still there waiting for a bed. But they're waking up after sleeping for 24 hours and they're just fine. And they'd say, "Oh, yeah, I took this drug or I did this thing and I was awake for 3 days." It's like, oh, that could kill you, literally. And it's like, and when we don't get good rest, again, it's harder for us to think, harder for us to kind of rationalize and make good decisions when the impulse comes or when the instinct kicks in. But also, it can lead to other things where we're not seeing the world clearly. So let's talk about then getting good rest and it's getting sleep, and the idea of finding a good routine. There's a lot of behavioral things. You don't always need to take medications to knock you out for 24 hours. I mean, finding behavioral modifications of limiting the amount of light in the morning, or I mean light at night, specifically screens, and other forms of light that are just coming into the eyes and waking up the parts of your brain that want to think and to read and to process all that. And so kind of dimming the lights, limiting screens. That's just a quick easy thing, a quick win, as they say. But also of getting on a good routine, of waking up in the morning at a good time to kind of start that clock, because that's when it starts, is in the morning. You wake up, get some light into your eyes, ideally natural lights, but just getting some light into your eyes, turning the lights on, setting the clock so that in 16 hours your brain will be like, okay, it's been enough time, let's get some sleep. um, and then leading up to bedtime, not doing anything too extraneous, too exciting, too and so again, not being porn, not doing drugs, not masturbating, because those are unnatural stimulants that will wake you up. There are other things. I mean, a lot of times, other sleep hygiene. The bed is for sex and it's for sleep. So if you're going to bed, let it be sex with your partner or with your wife or spouse, um, or for sleeping. And so again, if you're having trouble getting to sleep the last 2 hours of the day, or the hour to 2 hours leading up to bedtime, kind of decreasing the stimuli, decreasing screen time, decreasing the exciting things that are happening in your life, taking time to meditate, to be still, to journal, taking time to just allow your faculties to come down to a sense where it's like relaxed, doing deep breathing or stretching, taking a warm hot shower and then cooling off afterwards can bring the system down. um, Finding ways to maybe talk and enjoy and just have fun, to again, not too exciting fun, but things that are enjoyable. And then as you go to bed, and I think if you can get this in a routine, that as routine as you can every day, the same schedule, waking up in the morning, and then going to bed or preparing that bedtime routine will help signal to your brain it's time for bed, it's time to get to wind down, it's time to kind of fall asleep. There other advice that I can give and that I've heard is again, this is experimenting with your system in your life. And this has to do with naps. That if during the day you are feeling exhausted and tired, and that's leading you to be triggered, to kind of don't push through, or don't take some soda or stimulants or whatever kind of caffeine. Again, that's take kind of pushing your body beyond its limits while your frontal lobe capacity isn't quite running 100%. And I mean, as far as the brain goes, for me, this is the steering wheel, or should be the steering wheel, and this is kind of the gas. And so if we're pushing ourselves without steering well, we're going to be more likely to relapse. So again, if you need rest, get the rest. Take a nap, an hour, 20 minutes, 50 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is for you, that when you wake up from the nap, you're not feeling groggy afterwards. Because again, that's just the same kind of issue. But taking enough of a nap to kind of give you that boost to recharge the battery and kind of go. Again, limiting the stimuli, the lights and stuff when you're going to bed, preparing that nightly routine, avoiding things that can kind of just disrupt sleep. And this is another one where caffeine can disrupt your nightly cycle, your brain's brain waves while you're sleeping, so that you don't get a restful sleep. And so again, this idea of like 6 hour, I think that was 6 hours before bedtime, is that kind of not having anything caffeinated, because that will disrupt later on. And so finding these little sleep hygiene tactics or actions you can take. But some of the big ones that I've seen, again, limiting screen time before bed. And if you need rest, get rest. Take a nap, get some sleep. And that's something you can ask partners and family for. It's like, hey, I just need to sleep for a little bit. I am feeling overly tired. And then once you can kind of get into a good rhythm of sleeping well, then maybe cutting those naps out if they're too much. But find that balance of kind of screen time before bed, caffeine or other substances that disrupt the cycle of alcohol, caffeinated drinks, or other things that can kind of deregulate your system. Um, Going to bed at the same time, trying that routine, and allowing the bed to be a sacred place of sleep or sex. And waking up in the morning at the same time, getting the lights, setting that cycle at that time. There are other things that you can do, but these are some just basic ones that I have found helpful for me and for other people who are or who have had trouble with sleep. Because again, if we're feeling tired, if we're feeling fatigued, we're going to be more likely to give in to things that are stimulating, things that are kind of give us that high, um, to whatever addictions we have, because that will kind of try to spark us. It's as all these things can be for a coping and a quick fix, a way out. So these four major triggers: hunger, anger, loneliness, tired, or fatigue, are things that can really trigger us, and things that we can piece by piece dismantle as we experiment, as we try it out, as we make a plan, as we talk with others of what works for them, what's worked for others, and then trying it out in our own lives of, hey, did this work? Let me try it for a few weeks. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, great. Fix it. Take care of it. Through all of these, I hope you can recognize that you have a lot of power and influence in your life of what's going on, of how you are reacting and responding to things. And as you take that responsibility seriously and start to make changes, all the other things will start to kind of fall into place and align. So feed yourself well. Manage your anger and your loneliness. Take action to kind of deal with those things and recognize the function of those things, that they're there to help you out. And if you're tired, get some sleep. And if you're trouble sleeping, find the sleep hygiene techniques and tools and tricks that will work for you.